I wash my soul in the ocean, in the tears of God, I let it go.
Hello, my Astro family. This is Lada from astrolada.com here with your weekly horoscope for May the 18th till May the 24th, 2020. And this week, we're going to have so much Gemini energy is going to be coming out of our ears. I mean, we all are going to become a little bit ADD, attention deficit, because the Gemini energy is just so hectic. It affects the nervous system. Gemini rules one of those things. So we can feel a bit overwhelmed, overexcited, but it's light and breezy energy. Gemini is known as the perpetually youthful sign. So there will be a rejuvenation of our energies, a rejuvenation of our interests and curiosities, and it will become more childlike, will become more curious, like a child wants to open everything, open every drawer, see where things are, and collectively we're all going to start feeling this curiosity. You see how many things are in Gemini. Look at that. We're going to have new moon in Gemini, sun conjunct moon, which means new beginnings. And whatever Gemini is in your horoscope, it indicates, and we're going to go through the 12 signs, don't worry, but whatever, there is a new moon in your horoscope, sun and moon, mother and father, male and female join to create something new, which can be growing in your life for the next 12 months till the next new moon there. And whatever this new moon conjunction is happening in Gemini, it's going to bring something that is long lasting because it has a beautiful aspect to Saturn in Aquarius. You see here, the blue line is a trine aspect which flows harmoniously. So the energies of Saturn are really helping those new beginnings in your life, which will be very Geminian in nature. They will be about finding new interests or starting some new project, might be business or intellectual or something to learn very often. Or Gemini also rules relationships. It can be connected to relationship of some sort that you start, or collaboration with someone or some. And it's also very business side. A lot of people might be starting something connected to business, like a new project, new brand, or websites, the internet, information flow, any such projects started this week, especially after the new moon, which is on the 22nd on Friday. So something can come to you around that time, but especially after the first moon appears. So by Sunday, basically, something will come in your life that you can initiate, that you can start, that will have very lasting influence and very stabilizing influence in your life because of the Saturn trine to this new moon. And Saturn is stabilizing, lasting. It might take longer to unfold than you want because it is Saturn after all. It always delays things a little bit, but and it might require a bit more efforts whenever something new starts in your life in the next 2 weeks. And remember, a new moon affects you for 2 weeks. So from next Friday, Thursday, Friday, from around the 21st, 22nd of May till sometime in June when is the full moon. It's going to actually the whole June till the next full moon in new moon in Cancer. So for a whole month ahead, there can be new beginnings that you're going to see the first beginnings of them and the first inklings, what they're like towards the end of this week. And usually people initiate it when the moon starts becoming visible and growing, so from the week after that. And it will take a bit longer, but it will have lasting and very stabilizing effect on your life. And it's very much connected also to new relationships coming, to new contacts, to new associates of some sort as well, that are stable, reliable, lasting, a project you can do with them, or even deals. Gemini is a business sign, deals, clients, new clients as well, that you can initiate campaigns, for example, from the end of next week. We can start working on them before that, of course, preparing. And once the moon becomes visible from the 23rd, 4th of May onwards, you can initiate them, and that will give campaigns, marketing, advertisement, business, group environments, group work, anything to do with the internet, any writing project, even any short trips or projects that require any kind of business, administrative skills, writing, speaking, teaching, training. Oh, so Gemini, it's fantastic sign. I love the energy of Gemini. Gemini full moons feel like a second youth. And we'll see specifically for each of the 12 signs what area of your life it's going to affect. But there's just so much. Gemini is very mutable sign. And from this week, there'll be so much mutable energy. Mutable is changeable. So it's not stable constantly. One day is like that, one day something new appears and you reveal more and more and more. And also we have Mars and Neptune in mutable signs. It's most planets are in mutable signs in Pisces and Gemini. And when we have so much mutable energy, what it usually means is that um, it usually means that uh, mutability is not about starting something totally absolutely new that you have no idea about. It is usually building upon something on knowledge that you already have. Mutability is taking something and improving it, making it even better. So all the new projects that you're starting or new beginnings, so that you're coming in your life, very likely they're about something that you're already familiar with, something that already exists in your life or already exists in the world as a concept. But you're just taking it and making it better, because the mutable signs are very intelligent and they help improve things. They're not about total new creations, they're about improving something. And who is going to be affected by this full moon the most? New moon. I will tell you in a little bit. There's specific people, mutable signs for sure, but not every mutable sign will feel it, like Pisces, Gemini, so strongly. I will tell you exactly how to see if this will make such a big impact, this new moon with new beginnings that are stable and lasting. But we have another big event happening next week, and this is Mercury and Venus conjunction. And these are beautiful conjunctions. They're very artistic. Mercury is visible already. So, but look at it, it has a red line with Neptune. Red line, it's a difficult aspect. Neptune is a bit confusing planet. So how can this play out? So there'll be so much information coming to you, people calling you, friends or clients, because Mercury is about communications. In Gemini, it's triple communications in its own sign, interactions. And I think the whole world will be overwhelmed with news, with information in the next week, that this overflow of information of any sorts. But some of it because Venus is retrograde with Mercury. This people that get in touch with you, or you get in touch with them, it's already a business project, because Mercury rules business as well, or work projects as well. There's something that already you are familiar with it. You already know about it. So you see, the new moon will bring something new that is long and lasting. But we have here a retrograde planet, which means something that you already know about, you have thought about, or someone that you've been in communications before, but you're no longer, they'll come back and contact you, or you'll contact them, or some idea will come back to you to be redone, because retrograde Venus wants something to be done more beautifully. You pay attention to something. Mercury is your mind, and it might be some writing project. Gemini, it might be business project, communication project, connection with clients, all of those things, some skill, some websites, anything online. But Venus is retrograde, and you say, something is not perfect. It can be optimized. It can be made more. It can be added more value and worth to. More value can be extracted from this old product or this relationship. It can be balanced in some way. It can be renegotiated. So this is that other side that is also happening, the Venus conjunct Mercury, that you'll be working on. But because it's square Neptune, something that comes into your life, something new, something that you're already familiar with, there might be things that you're not totally clear about. Maybe someone gets in touch with you from before and they tell you something, but you can't really trust fully. And they might be doing it with very good intentions, and they might be promising you something. Maybe someone you haven't seen in a while, they call you, oh, let's do this, it's amazing, it's great. But probably, and you can get excited, but there is some information you don't fully have. There is something that it's not maybe they're not clear about as well. Maybe they overpromise. And be careful as well in your communications with others. Mercury and Venus are both very social planets in a social sign, that you don't overpromise, that you don't over exaggerate, that you don't that you're being clear and punctual, because miscommunications and misunderstandings are very likely in the next 7 days. Already it's happening. This aspect is already in action, so the whole week this influence is there. So I want you to be a bit more careful when you're communicating with others, so you don't mislead, and it can be a bit like broken phone. You hear something from someone, you tell it a bit more differently, they tell it to someone a bit more differently. It's like some gossip thing, and it comes back to you with your words twisted back, and you're like, no, I didn't mean that. So be careful also with any kind of devices, Mercury, any kind of communication devices, passwords, credit cards, with money transactions of any sort, Venus as well, that there is not some confusion, some complication because of this Neptune. There'll be many such transactions. Oh my God. For businesses, it's going to get hectic. Mercury and Venus conjunction Gemini, it really gets hectic, maybe reconnecting, maybe because of old products they're re-offering Venus retrograde, or projects that they're working on. It culminates, it peaks, it really speeds up communication projects of any sorts, business, administration, study projects. It's hectic, transactions, interactions, administrative. It's happening in Venus Day, it's helping it go well, but you might miss something because of Neptune connected to documents, to papers, to communication, or misunderstand something, or others can do the same, and or maybe you can yeah, I think I gave different examples how it might be a person, it might be a project that this happens with. So yeah, but a lot of Gemini energy is fantastic to learn things, to learn skills, and you'll see it's kind of social media ruled by Gemini. So there'll be news about new social media platforms starting to appear, and a lot of, you see, there is good news that will come. The new moon is really well aspected. There will be sources of information that are very stable and solid and reliable, but there will be some other sources of information that are really well packaged, Venus with Mercury, that sound very well worded, but there is a fake news there, Neptune, or there is misleading information there. But it's great, this combination, for marketing, because marketing is to package something beautifully, some product, Mercury, and to sell it even in a more idealistic way to others, to present it as a grander, than it is, Neptune, to weave a magical energy around it, to touch the emotions of others. That's Neptune in Pisces. So such things can go really well, but be careful if you're shopping online, because Gemini also rules shopping with Venus and Mercury, online shopping and transactions, and you see a beautiful advertisement on Facebook of, whoa, what pretty dress, and you order it, and the horror stories. It's too beautifully presented, too beautiful to be true, or you might just misunderstand something about the product. But usually when it's for selling, this aspect can do well, but try not to mislead whoever you're selling to too much. And in communications, people can be really well-meaning, saying beautiful words to you, Venus, Mercury, promising you great stuff, but because of Neptune, maybe they are not being so honest, in extreme cases on purpose. In most cases, it's because they themselves they're not fully clear on the situation. All right, so a lot of Gemini energy there. Short, and we're gonna feel restless as well, because Gemini now, if you're still in lockdown, people that are still in lockdown with all this Gemini and mutable energy, it wants to move. Mutability is to move, you're just gonna feel like you're gonna need some CBD oil probably to calm you down if you're still in lockdown, because the nervous energy escalates with so much mutability. You just want to be out and about, walking here and there, exploring, and possibly it can indicate so much. The new moon is like more movability is coming into our life, that from next week, so gradually after the 22nd of May, for the next 2 weeks especially, while the new moon is most powerful, there will be unlocking of many places around the world. So people have more movability, more access to social gatherings on smaller groups, because Gemini rules smaller social gatherings, while being cautious, larger gatherings are Aquarius, and Saturn is their trine. So while cautiously implementing a bit larger gatherings, but Saturn is there till it's there till July. Till July, I think there will be a lot of restrictions around bigger social gatherings of any sorts, but smaller ones, it's starting to happen. You're going to see people all around making barbecues, hanging out with their friends, with their neighbors, coming back to friends they haven't seen in a while. Venus retrograde, to embrace, to hug, or distance hug. But some important news will also come out to the surface next week with Venus. Gemini is all about news. Some news that can, it will sound very good initially, but because of the Neptune square, there might be something that is not fully truthful there. And anyway, I wanted to show you who is going to feel this the most, because not everyone will fully experience this. Everything that I told you now, you're going to feel it if you let me share my screen. All right. Do you see my screen? You can go to my website, Astrolada, and I have what is called here personal transit calendar. Most people, we have 40,000 now people that are using it daily. It's for free for a week ahead. If you have not registered, I have registered already. So I've logged in here. These are my profiles, and I'll open my profile. So who is going to feel this new moon the most, first of all? Anyone who is having a sun transit on those days, on the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, maybe even 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 25th. It only shows the calendar 7 days ahead. So if you don't see it today, go in a couple of days, you'll see all your transit, or you can unlock for a month transit, which is just $6 to see all your personal transits. So if you happen to see a blue transit around those days of the new moon, here it is June 21st, 22nd, and you see I have a transit. This is personally for me. This is my chart. It's no one else in the world will have the same transit. But if you happen to have any blue transits on that day, wow, the new moon is really hitting your chart personally. So everything that I said about those new beginnings that can be long lasting, that are connected to information, to Gemini activities, everything that I said will be very powerful for you if you also have around those few days here around the new moon, the sun aspect, the yellow transit. I have even actually two. And you can even click on it and read for you in your specific chart what it shows, the specific transit, but everything else that I said, you add it on top. Because these are your specific transits, but what I'm talking about is general transits for everyone, but they happen to hit you if you have a sun transit the most powerfully. And then who will feel also the Venus, Neptune transit? Well, I'll give you another chart here, my husband. Open up your chart, and if around those days, 22nd, 21st, 22nd, the whole week actually, Venus is currently already squaring Neptune and Mercury. If you happen to have any pink transits, you're gonna feel the Venus conjunct Mercury square Neptune, everything that I talk. So here, the pink aspect. My husband will be having that. And especially the more challenging ones, the square, you see it says square, the conjunction and the opposition, you have to be more careful for those misleading things that I was talking about. Some confusion, misinformation, too good to be true, or like my husband, he trades on the stock market, which is connected to Venus and Mercury. So he'll have to be more careful not to get misled overly optimistically for some prediction, for example, for the markets, because there is something that is a bit too good to be true. There is not enough information. There is misinformation around there about this thing. Or if he was going on a date with someone, I better not, because I'll kill him. But if he was going on a date, he might feel like, wow, she's the one. Wow, I'm excited, And if you're having a Venus transit or Neptune transit, Neptune's transits are in this color. Venus transits are in pink, or even Mercury, because Mercury will be part of this thing. So if you happen to have Venus, green, green, pink, or this light blue transits, you're gonna feel more the Venus conjunct Mercury, square Neptune. And there are very good things about Venus conjunct Mercury. There'll be a lot of information that you're taking, new people that you're meeting, communicating, projects that you're doing, that they're culminating, old projects that you're seeing results, that are going ahead, that you're doing important things about it. Lots of people, you know, all of those things, quite hectic. But there is a possibility to miss something, as I said, or not to overestimate something or underestimate it, you know. But otherwise, for creative activities, if Venus is Venus, if you're having a special Venus transit, if this Venus, Mercury, or Neptune transit, if they're activating your personal chart, anything creative is fantastic. Anything musical or artistic, where you need the imagination, or even some good old times, having a drink, going to a party, because these are all soft energies. You can just overdo it. You don't have boundaries, you know. But if you're going on a first date or a business date, it's not. You can feel overly romantic on a first date, which is great actually. Or if you're already with someone that you're in love with, next week you can just have some very romantic times where you're chatting a lot, Venus, Mercury, where you're laughing a lot, where you're revisiting old stories, or talking about old things from the past, where you revisit some places that you love. And Neptune can make it even more dreamy. Maybe you can drink a bit too much, or maybe you can get lost in the woods, or maybe you can just, you know, kind of dream about the future and how it's going to be. But if it's someone you don't really know, or if it's connected to business, it's a bit less stabilizing if you're having Venus transits, you know, that like I showed in Neptune, because there's some uncertainties here with Neptune. There is some unknown, so to speak, or that you can't put your finger down to. But if the new moon is affecting you, the transits that I showed you of the sun, if you're having yellow transits for those days next week, then whatever comes into your life next week actually is going to have a very stabilizing energy. It's going to be very truthful, because Saturn is a planet that doesn't play games, that it has all the facts correctly laid out for you, that has it all, you know, systemized. So it's nothing hidden there. And some of you might have both. You might have Venus transits and Neptune triggering your horoscope in certain areas, and the new moon transit. So you're going to see a bit of both. Some old things coming to you that you have to reduce in from a different perspective, talk about, culminate, work on, and maybe not be fully aware of, or feel something that there's something fishy there, and trying to figure it out to fix it. And there will be new things that you're going to develop for months ahead that will bring very stabilizing influence to you. And now let's start with the 12 signs. And by the way, I wanted to tell you that we're starting a fantastic, there's nothing like that in the world. We're starting an Ancient Babylonian Astrology Academy. It's only $60 per month, and you'll get like about 8 hours of lectures twice a month, with basically the person who revived ancient Babylonian astrology, Rumen Kolev. He knows 5 ancient dead languages, and he would go to museums and take tablets from Babylon and Sumer and translate them, because he also knows astrology. And he realized what the ancient astrology from 4,000 or 5,000 years ago is. No one else in the world knows it, because no one else knows Akkadian, Babylonian, ancient Greek, you know, and astrology and mathematics. So he was the one who single-handedly has revived ancient Babylonian astrology, the study of heliacal phases, visibility, invisibility. Anyone, if you've ever heard about that, it all comes from him, because no one else knew about it, or we had forgotten it for 1,000 years. So if you want to learn it from the source, from the foremost scholar who knows how the ancient kings astrologers worked, which were making predictions for whole empires, you can join us. Extremely cheap. Some of the cheapest, our courses are some of the cheapest online. We can afford it because we're a big team. but you cannot find such, there is nowhere in the world such courses with the best astrology, and no one else knows Babylonian astrology except the students of Rumen Kolev, which are Krasi and Trifon, which you all know if you're watching this channel. Okay, so that'd be great if you join us. But let's start with the signs. Aries. Let's go quickly. Aries, sun, moon, or rising. Wow, a lot of activity. You're gonna feel restless. You're gonna be like fidgety. You can't sit on your butt because your third house in Gemini is being activated. And you'll be like, you see, moving your hands around, moving to and fro, making lots of short trips. There'll be like so much information coming your way, so many people contacting you, speaking to you, or you making new contacts because of the new moon there, you know, new contacts that if someone new appears in your life, like a contact for business, personal, a friend, a mate, third house is such kind of people in your everyday life. If someone new appears or some new contacts are created, new clients, new deals, new business opportunities, if such come for the next 2 weeks, especially from the end of, you know, next week for 2 weeks ahead, they will be very long lasting. They'll be very stabilizing for you because of Aquarius, because the Saturn trine to this new moon. And I would strongly advise you to embrace those because they will create. So, for example, it can be starting like to do a new website. Do that. It might take a bit longer than you want to because Saturn is involved, but the final result will be so much more stable, so much more solid and long lasting. Or they can be a new friendship or relationship or opportunity for trip, especially business trip, short trip, Gemini, or opportunity for a new business project that you start working on, that you'll be very meticulous, slowly build upon. You know, it's not going to be a fast kind of bam bam bam, but it's going to be like mwah. You know, Saturn wants, when it's a trine, it's going to help you do it 5 6 stars or whatever, 5 stars. Also, you're going to have Mercury conjunct Venus in your third house. So some people from the past will also come, new ones, but people from the past you haven't heard from, friends, relatives, you can reconnect with family, extended families, relatives, friends, you know, or clients from the past, or start a marketing strategy. For example, if you have your own business, how to appeal more to your old clients, because Venus is retrograde, so you want to take care of things that you already have existed in your business, or projects that so you can be working on new ones but also on old ones that you're revamping. But be careful because there can be some miscommunication, misinformation there. Getting in touch with people from your past or clients or whatever. Uh, because of Neptune, sometimes things can be too good to be true. So you can realize there's some lie that is happening there, or some, let's say, untruthfulness. Also, your mind will be so stimulated, you might feel a bit restless, too much nervous energy, you can't find it easy to sleep at night because you're thinking so much with so many planets activating your third house. um, what I found very helpful is honestly CBD. It's without anything, you know. But I think Aries will find this extremely helpful for a week or two with all those intense energies activating the third house, the mind, communications, daily activities to and through. Your daily life will be just so busy with new activities, with information, with you know, learning new things, new hobbies, new skills as well, and such. Okay, so let's move to and transactions and travels. So let's move to Taurus, sun, moon, or rising. Taurus, for you, all the focus is in the second house. You'll be doing some transactions, money, changing, exchanging currencies. I don't know what you'll be doing, but it's something, it's like your whole focus is towards activities connected to practical activities, material, money, resources, uh, mm, supply, food, you know, food, anything that is to support your life in the physical, clothes or assets or property. And there'll be new opportunities coming to you there. Maybe a new financial opportunity of some sort to make money that you can grow over, months ahead, that will come to you for over the next 2-3 weeks, basically, after the new moon. And it will be stable one. Saturn trine this new moon. It will bring long lasting positive financial stability in your life. But it will take more time to work. It will be a bit harder, because it is Saturn after all. It means it will take slower to manifest those money, but it will be those resources that you're trying to procure from somewhere, new such resources, but it will be long lasting. At the same time, there can be other financial, monetary, or asset transactions that are happening that you have to be more careful with them. But there's something that you already know about. It's not something totally new, because the Venus retrograde here with Mercury indicates that you're dealing with some other financial issues as well, which are more connected to already existing finances, assets. You're trying to make them better, more balanced. You're to balance more your finances, or rebudget in some way, or your possessions that you're like, oh, I need to throw something out. And especially with Neptune square, it means you're gonna do it consciously. Get rid of something, lose something. Neptune is to lose something, get rid of something monetary, financial, just for the next week, not much longer, but Venus will square it again. So yeah, it might be a recurring topic. Otherwise, what can happen is that you have some losses, some expenses that appear for you, that are based on things you've done before, that come up to the surface now. So be prepared that yes, there will be new opportunities to make money there, or to create more financial stabilities, but they will give results later on, and they will require work. And they'll give very positive, stable results, but at the same time, there can be some losses connected with some oversights. You didn't notice something, you forgot about something, or something is, not working well, something is stolen or lost, so you have to spend more. Be careful with financial transactions for the next week. If you're buying something online, Taurus, because of the Neptune square, be careful that your information is not stolen, for example, or that you don't lose a credit card, or that you don't lose that if you're buying something, you're not misled into buying something that looks much better than it is. All right. So now Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. This is happening in your sign. Gemini, wow, you're the star of the show for a whole month ahead, I would say, after this new moon. Powerful new beginnings in the life of Gemini. I think you're making the whole world move right now. It's like 4 or 5 planets in the south, north node are there. Thanks to you, the world is going to start to somehow you'll play pivotal positions now in society for a month to bring back to normality into life. And you're the connector, you're the one that gets things moving, you're the one that kind of Gemini is the sign that moves the whole economy, I would say. So yeah, you'll be center stage in some area in your life. There will be powerful new beginnings for you, the sun and moon. And by the way, I want Gemini to watch the whole first part of the video. If you just jumped here to see your sign, you're gonna miss a lot, because everything that I spoke at the beginning matters for you the most, Gemini. So the intro, please check it. It's, I don't know, 20 minutes or something, but it's all for you. So not to repeat myself, but powerful new beginnings in your life that involve you, a personal decision that you make. It's not gonna come to you from someone else. It will come to you. You initiate it, because it's happening in your ascendant sign, or sun or moon. It will require your personal participation. That requires you to use your skills, for example, Gemini, your knowledge, your information that can be connected to all of the Gemini skills, online, Facebook, whatever, business, internet, marketing, advertising, administrative. But the new phase is starting in your life, quite powerful as well. And you have a lot more free will now for this month till the middle of June, I would say. because with this new moon will affect you till middle of June, I think. So when there is a new moon in your sign, you're given more free will to direct events according to your vision. So you get some ideas, a vision, something appears on your path, and you have to take personal initiative. And then when there is a full moon in your sign in 6 months, you're going to start seeing the results of that. Or maybe sometimes it's the next full moon in Gemini, a year and a half from now, but it's usually something that you start and put the seeds up during this time, which is so pivotal for you, Gemini, from the end of next week. So after the 22nd of June, ideas will start flowing onto you. You'll start kind of, it doesn't have to be something that changes the world, but it will change your life. The universe will send you ideas that send you the program of your path for the next 12 months. Write them down, make the initial step for those. Because with your free will, it's like the butterfly that started right now. You're the butterfly that spread its wings and started flitting in one end of the world. In about 6 months or 18 months from now, there will be a hurricane on the other, but hopefully not destructive, But those small actions you take now will have this avalanche effect later on when you can't control them anymore down. So now, and because this new moon is so beautiful, it's trine Saturn, your whatever you start, it will have very lasting positive effect for you. It will take longer to complete than you expected. It will require you to overcome some red tape, some bureaucratic things, might require you to follow more traditional steps. But it will give really fantastic results at the end. Or maybe you'll receive support from experts. Saturn is someone who's an expert, a master, someone with more experience, older, but they can help you with, but you're the face of that, whatever new thing is coming in your life, whatever new, whether you decide to change your physical body now and shape, if you initiate it after the new moon, you can have really great lasting results with Saturn that you follow through, or whatever else it is, whether it's career. And so also there is a Venus conjunct Mercury happening in your sign. Maybe someone from the past will contact you. Maybe there's so much information, so many contacts, so much social possibilities for you. They might not be, if you're in lockdown, they might not be directly face to face, but they might be, through emails, through internet. And people from the past, you can reconnect with them now with this Venus retrograde conjunct you are Mercury, Gemini, Mercury rules you. So some maybe even love from the past that you haven't thought of appears in your life, and actually even someone hidden that you've forgotten about, because Venus rules your 12th house, so some secret love that can reconnect with you. Someone from a past, long past that you've forgotten can reconnect with you. And of course, Venus rules also your 5th house, so love affairs, definitely if you're single now, and maybe you spoke with someone maybe 2-3 years ago, and now they write to you and say, hey, I saw you posted something, you start chatting, but it's someone that you already know that can come to you. Or if you're already in a relationship, it can mean that you're having some important conversations with your partner now. Because Mercury's conversations to clarify the love aspect of the relationship or the financial aspect of the relationship. And because Neptune is there, it can be very romantic, but but they can be something. I'm warning as well, everyone, that the people you get in touch with now, they might overpromise a bit, maybe with good intentions. They might be very charming. Oh my God. And you'll be very charming. The thing is, that's a lot of this is you actually. That you're very charming and that your words are like honey to others. Oh, you charm the pants off of people for the next week or two with these combinations that you have. But just be careful that you don't overpromise, or you don't overextend yourself, or that you're clear about things, especially decisions about your career that you're taking. Neptune is in your 10th house, the square. Maybe bosses promising something but can't deliver, maybe connected to your career. You have certain expectations and you're excited, and you are in negotiations, Venus, Mercury, but it turns out that it's not exactly what you expected. So, just for that, um, especially if you're having Venus, Mercury affecting your chart, I showed you how to see. If you're having any Venus transit, you can go back to the intro. If you're having any Venus transit next month, next week, you have to be more careful for deceptions or misunderstandings. But if you're having any Sun transits, you get the most stable new moon energy. But again, very important week, full of developments, full of new beginnings and restarting of something new. Just be careful not to miss certain details, like we spoke about Neptune. Then, if you're Cancer, wow, everything is in your 12th house. Maybe if you're Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, it's time to. You might feel a bit more lethargic. You might feel more like isolating or being on your own a bit more. Like to take a break for the next 2-3 weeks, actually. And that's exactly the best strategy for you, because after that, planets will gradually start moving into your sign from the end of June and July, so you'll be renewed. But now, you'll start new beginnings. Then in the summer, more towards the summer, powerful new beginnings, there'll be eclipses in your sign. So the universe is telling you, take a break a little bit, rest before that, gather your mind, give your body more sleep, give your body more energy, to rest more, listen to podcasts, read books, because it's Gemini. Maybe you can find yourself drawn a lot to spend more time with your own thoughts and think, and think about more, or maybe have more private relationships. The 12th house is hidden house, which means that you can get in touch with people from the past, Venus retrograde, that you haven't heard from, but it's not a relationships that's public of some sort. Maybe hear from a past lover, or maybe have a secret crush on someone and you can get in touch with them of some sort. Or you might be just preparing for something. 12th house is not always just laying around and meditating and listening to podcasts and watching YouTube, because 12th house is to relax, to disconnect from reality. And for Cancers, that can, with so much Gemini in the 12th house, is definitely can mean by, social media, TV, documentaries, reading. But that can put some stress on being able actually to rest fully. But it's also research or preparing for something. So you might come across with this new moon a desire to start researching something more in depth, to prepare for something which requires study, more time isolated to research it basically. And it will be something very solid, something that gives lasting results once the planets start moving into your sign, because of the Saturn trine. Saturn stabilizes. Also, on a negative level, what could this be? You can feel isolated, disconnected, because of all these 12th house conjunctions. 12 houses, to feel a bit confused, to kind of don't know which path to take, to kind of be in the dark about what is the next step. And it's okay if you're feeling that like that. Don't beat yourself. 12th house is heavy energy, but the planets are quite positive that day in your 12th house. And the positive side of the 12th house is, again, as I said, getting in touch with your deeper self, maybe doing some psychological exploring, some reading of spiritual materials, some talking with a psychologist, exploring the past lifetimes or forgotten memories, maybe meditating, just going within your own universe and world. You can receive quite powerful messages in your dreams. I am quite certain that your dreams can be quite prophetic, where you can receive information about the next step you need to take, over the next step you need to take, basically, if you're confused right now. Another thing is that this 12th house is connection to invisible forces and through prayer and meditation. So if you pray for an answer, 12th house is house of miracles. You can receive like a miracle answer or miracle. For example, some of the best psychic readings I have is when my 12th house is activated. Like and because you have, like, the universe says, okay, now you're allowed to connect to your ancestors, so to those in the invisible world that love you. It thins, the two worlds thin, so they can reach you, whether through a medium or whether through just whether just through some kind of a subconscious message or in your dreams, or if you have a reading with someone, astrologer, medium, anyone who can become a channel, or even a friend or someone can just tell you something and give you an answer because you asked higher power to do so. Also, 12th house is connected to faraway travel. So there can be some opportunity for some of you to start planning some faraway travel now, foreign countries, something connected to transactions with a faraway country, or even to start some business initiative with someone from a faraway country or in a faraway country connected to and especially if it's business, it's great because Saturn is making a trine to this new moon of new beginnings. So any new initiatives connected to retreats, to faraway holidays, to business with faraway countries, to any spiritual business, to any business connected to healing, to any new activities or undertakings connected to art and spirituality, they can be very stable for you. And they can actually create long-lasting positive results for months, if not years ahead, because of the beautiful trine of the new moon with Saturn and even with Jupiter and Pluto out of sign. So if new opportunities come to you for those activities, to learn new meditation, to do some spiritual studies, to do some psychological, going deep inside faraway countries, investments in foreign places or travel, and it might take longer to see the results because Saturn is involved, but do take them because they can be very long lasting. But be careful also for Venus square Neptune there, not to lose some devices, Mercury's devices, or Venus, and the 12th house is house of losses as well. So Venus is money, Venus is valuable objects, Mercury rules communication devices of any sort, and square Neptune. Be careful that these are not hacked, broken, stolen, damaged in some way. Your accounts, be careful when you're giving information because there's something dodgy there. If you're a dodgy person yourself, you can do something really more dodgy now with all those 12 planets there, and you're not going to be discovered. I mean, if you're going to be doing something that you don't want the government to know, that you don't want anyone to know, whether it's an affair, whether it's some money transactions that you don't want to pay taxes on, whether it's something else that you want to do hidden, if you do it now, you kind of, you know, it's so many planets in the 12th house, it can, I mean, I shouldn't give such advice, but sometimes it doesn't have to be dodgy thing. You just want to do something privately without others finding out. This will be the time. Okay, and take more rest. You know, be gentler on yourself with this 12th house. Don't feel down. Don't feel like where's my energy, because you might feel like you're missing it somehow. Especially if you're a Cancer sun, Cancer rising, less so Cancer moon. You can feel more emotional now, but you can be extremely psychic. You can feel like you can now just feel everyone's feelings, but there is possibility to confuse yourself, to overestimate, underestimate something as well. So I would advise you to use that trine of Saturn, which is maybe to ask wise counsel from someone older. Can be like a parent or some authority figure that you respect, because they can have more stabilizing influence when you can help you if you're unclear about things, to kind of structure things for you and see them more reasonably. Okay, then we're moving, and something again, private affairs. Oh, I talked about that. Okay, then Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. This is happening in your 11th house. Oh, the party of the planets in Gemini. New moon there. There will be new social connections that come into your life. That can be even business opportunities with this new moon. And Saturn is making a trine from your 7th house. So these new clients, new social outreach and ideas that can make you have a more wider audience or wider reach of clients or wider circle of connections. And it can be kind of, these are both business houses that are activated by the new moon, by Saturn and the Sun. So this, whatever new people appear in your life or contacts or connections, over the next 2-3 weeks while the new moon is active. I think they'll be very good for you. Why is that? Because Saturn is trying this new moon. So they can be better when it comes to work matters, because Saturn is stable, is business oriented, it's more serious. So if such business collaborations or contacts appear, I would advise you to take them. They'll be long lasting. They can give positive results, but they'll take longer. Whatever good results are coming to you in business now, or opportunities, because the 11th house is the house of gains. So there can be new opportunities for gains, new ideas for gains that develop for you over the next 2-3 weeks to generate more income. They will unfold slower than you probably want, because it's Saturn after all, but they'll have very much more lasting influence. They'll have a much more quality to them, much more gravitas and respect to them. So you do them perfectly, but slower. And yeah, shoot at that. Also, some friends can appear, new friends or social circle of yours. You can join some new groups, opportunity to join some new groups can appear, that you're going to be starting to work on, but also friends from the past can be coming back, because you have also Venus retrograde there with Mercury. Someone you haven't heard from before comes back to you, or maybe some other projects that you've been working about already. It can reward you financially now as well. So you're starting new ones. There is a new moon, but there is a retrograde planet, Venus, which rules also money, in this 11th house of gain. So something that you've been working already on can start giving results now, or some project that you've been already involved with, financial, material, long-term goal and dream, because the 11th house rules all of those. You might have to redo it or fix it a little bit, and this will be a very hectic time for that. You might have to revision it, reposition it to make it more financially, let's say, beneficial. And it might require more extra work, but then it will be financially more rewarding after you fix it, you improve it, you spice it up a bit, you make it more balanced, more harmonious. So a lot of communications are happening to you, getting in touch with old clients, starting with new ones. And the 11th house is definitely house of projects. So projects that are going to fulfill your long-term dreams and wishes and desires, and create more gain and popularity for you. And you're working, maybe if you have your own business, for example, you'll be working on all such things to fix them, to make them better, and on new such. On personal level, it can indicate that friends from the past, you can reconnect with people, you can become more social, you can revisit as well some older social connections that you've had, or have some very important conversations with friends and important people in your life, because this is a social house, the 11th, and new and old ones, working on new projects or new ideas, new plans and old plans, both are there together. Just be careful, because Neptune from your 8th house is squaring Venus and Mercury. There might be some expenses, or there might be, especially if you're making some purchases connected to, let's say, or if you're trying to make some conversations or collaborate or work with someone to develop a dream of yours or idea of yours, be careful that they're not over promising, or that there isn't some hidden agenda there, or that there might be extra expenses connected to that, and or to some social activity. There might be something that kind of destabilizes a bit your finances, or your losses, your gains, because of other people's resources or other people's involvement with this Neptune in the 8th house. Plus, it can be about 8th houses taxes. So there can be some confusion connected to your gains and how you connected to taxes that you have to work on. That's another possibility. It can happen. All right, but yes, there can be some relationships that are happening, some communications, that there is something unclear about them, something hidden and secret. That's the one thing you have to be a bit more careful. That can lead to some expenses. For example, someone trying to sell you something or involve you, or you trying to sell something to others, which can indicate that they're sorry, I lost my train of thought. It's getting too complicated. Not gonna go down this rabbit hole. Okay, but definitely very social time. You can be quite visible. You can achieve a lot to move forward your goals and dreams and plans, and to have a lot more social involvement. All right, Virgo. Virgo, for you, this is happening in your 10th house. The new moon in your 10th house can indicate that a new career opportunity will appear for you over the next 2-3 weeks. And that will be very stabilizing because of the trine of Saturn to the sun and moon. You see, new moon, new beginnings, trine Saturn, stable, long lasting. And from your 5th house, yeah? Yes, it is from your 5th house. No, it's not. From your 6th house of work. So definitely there can be some very positive developments connected to your social standing, to positions of authority. Maybe you can start having a new vision for your business, for example, and then want to implement it gradually. But it will take a bit more work, and it will take longer because Saturn is involved, but it will be much more lasting results. It will be much more this career project can be much more stable, you know, and ingrain your reputation and implant much better reputation for you for a long time. But also some old career projects might be coming back, or career opportunities that you haven't heard from for a while, because Venus retrograde conjunct Mercury. They can be, and you can receive some very good news there in regards to your career, or especially in regards to career projects that you've already been working on. And there can be some important culminations they're developing, but also it can mean like a project you've been working on in regards to your career comes back to you to be fixed, to be edited, to be made better, that you see something that is not so pleasing, and that there is someone who is dissatisfied and tells you make it a bit better. Neptune square, you know, from the 7th house of others, they say, can you change the bit? It's not really the best thing, so you have to fix something, and when you do it, you will receive, you know, the results will be after that eventually much better. But also there is a possibility that you might be a little bit misled when it comes to career, especially from someone that you already know, that they might promise something to you, or a client, but they don't follow through. Or a boss, you know, that says something but actually cannot follow through. So be careful, someone over-promising or misrepresenting information, especially in regards to your social status, in regards to your career, in regards to your public life. But definitely you are very visible right now, this coming weeks. You're like, it can be very hectic time for your career, new, old projects, starting jobs, coming back to jobs. You know, it's new things and old things as well. Opportunity. It can be time when you basically program your career achievements for the next year, so to speak. and now you have a lot of free will how to direct, because of the new moon gives you free will how to direct your career. But also there's some things that have, in regards to your career, that have been put in action already, that you don't have much free will over with the Venus retrograde there, but you have to talk on them, you have to make better, more harmonious, you know. So you know, there it's more like to improve on and fix, and maybe rather than having total free will to do with it whatever you want. Okay, and it can indicate that you have a lot of involvement with authority figures, for example, in the coming week or two, with bosses and such. Okay, but very visible. If you're a public figure of any sorts, a lot of projects. Then if you're Libra rising, sun, moon, or yes, Libra, sun, moon, or ascendant. This full moon, new moon, is happening in your 9th house, Libra, which means that there might be an opportunity for some of you to travel or to start learning something new. It's the house of education, higher knowledge, wisdom and foreign travel, import and export, international business, international relationships. Someone from a foreign country or state can appear in your life, someone new that can bring a new idea, some new connection can appear from someone that is unfamiliar to you. Ninth house is unfamiliar people, that are actually good luck for you, because the ninth house is a lucky one that can present to you some idea. They can be ninth house is also very like teachers, people that are good karma for us, people that are sent to us to lead us as a gift from God, as someone to show us the direction. And currently you can find a new teacher with this new moon over the next 2-3 weeks, a new line of wisdom and knowledge that gives you more optimism, expands your vision. I think you feel quite optimistic if you're Libra rising. And as I said, opportunities to travel can come over the next 2-3 weeks to maybe another state, to take a longer journey of some sort. Even though the world is on lockdown, but there is a new moon in your ninth house, so you might be exempt, or you might be, and it might be a work trip or work business travel, or because Saturn makes a trine. But whatever opportunity comes to you for either educating, taking some crash course, the ninth house is higher knowledge, expanding your knowledge, learning with a mentor, learning with a either in university or professor. So nowadays, most of the knowledge is online. You can choose like, oh, I'm going to expand my astrology knowledge. I'm so excited. And it's going to be very solid knowledge because of Saturn trine. It's going to be knowledge that you're going to find. If you find a mentor or a teacher to study with, or a course, it will be with someone who is very knowledgeable. Saturn in Aquarius, knows his shit. Trine the Sun and Mercury will be very practical as well for you. But mind expanding, opportunities expanding. So in great time, I think there'll be some opportunity for you to learn something new, to start learning, to take courses with a mentor, to follow a mentor, to follow someone who is an inspiration to you, to discover new such people, and to catch up on the old ones that you have, because you have a retrograde planet as well here, not only new such, but also to organize some trip, or to organize some import export, or to opportunity to teach. Ninth house is also to teach. So you might start some idea to teach something, to spread your knowledge as well, and turn it into business. Gemini's business, to make it accessible to the everyday person, but higher knowledge that you have. So that's another option that can happen for you. And you have Venus and Mercury retrograde there as well. So you can also hear from people far away from you that you already know, that you haven't heard from. Maybe foreign friends of yours connect to you. Maybe, you hear from a teacher. Maybe you hear from inspirational figures as well. Maybe you revise some of the old knowledge you had, and you decide to brush it up and revise on some old seminars and webinars that you have and apply them. Yes, you have to be a bit careful, or maybe some of you might be doing documents connected to faraway countries, to visas, to legal matters of the ninth house as well. So that can be quite prevalent for you as a focus. Legal matters that, for foreign relocation, for visas, or any kind of legal matters that you might be involved with. And I think it's quite positive, actually. There's so many good planets in that ninth house. Also it might mean involvement with mentors and father figures. It can be very busy with you and your father, for example, doing something there together. Okay, I think we mentioned everything about this ninth house. My mind is becoming blocked now. Can't remember what else the ninth house can mean. But you as Libra have Venus retrograde. So a lot of Libras will be, yes, you'll be starting some new things. There is a new moon, but a lot of you are in more introspective mode. You are going back. You want to go back to complete a journey that you could not complete, or complete a course you could not complete, or complete something, some projects, because Venus is you, that you were not able to do earlier, or that you were not able to complete. And it's going to be a very important week for you, by the way, because your planet Venus is joining with Mercury, the planet of communication. So you'll be overwhelmed with information, people calling you, texting you, you connecting with others. you and what does Mercury rule in your horoscope is the ninth house. Okay, we talked about that, and it's your your 12th house as well. um Interesting. Again, it's connected to foreign places, to spiritual studies. So a lot of you might discover a lot of interest in research. 12th house, to study, to research something, to dig deep. Mercury, or any transactions or any business transactions are very hectic when the ruler of the horoscope also gets connected to Mercury. Mercury rules business, and they might be more hidden, more private, or they might be connected to foreign travel and such matters, and foreign cultures. So yeah, that's about it. Maybe some trips can be happening for you, as I said. All right. So Scorpio, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. This whole uh, new moon stellium in Gemini here. You see more, all the planets are in your eighth house. So you're becoming even more scorpionic. Eighth house is Scorpio house. It's your natural house. So you might become even more suspicious. You might become even more sexual. You might become even more intense, reading on the, everything is a conspiracy. And you might be onto something right now. And you might be, now your antennas are so powerful. Your planet Pluto for the whole year is conjunct Jupiter, the planet of knowledge. So you naturally have very strong antennas for bullshit. But now you, with your eighth house triggered, oh my God, some of you might become extra paranoid, extra intense, and can discover a lot of hidden information and secrets, and try to, maybe give it to others to spread it. Because Gemini, after all, is your eighth house. When you discover secret information, you want to be the messenger of it. Uh, so you might be the messenger of kind of disconcerting information for others now, or that is too harsh for others to take. But you have two beautiful planets there, Venus and Mercury, that allows you to communicate it in a softer, gentler way. So you don't disrupt others, but you be acting like an intervention for people almost, because you'd almost feel like, I'm fed up, why are they so blind? So you're going to go and tell them in a gentler, nicer way. It's not going to be too crude one, because of those gentle planets in your eighth house. But definitely you're like a whistleblower now for a few weeks, and you're on a crusade to transform others. Oh, you can transform yourself. This eighth house, there can be a lot of deep introspection you're going through, going to rummaging through past events in your life, because there is Venus retrograde there, or also starting on a new psychological exploration journey with the new moon. Also, it can indicate that you get very into conspiracies, or very much, and I hate saying the word conspiracies, but in information that is not accessible to everyone else. This is what the eighth house is: information that is too occult, or too hot, too scary for others, or too deep for others to comprehend. And you're gonna dig deeply with researching, with reading about such things, and sharing. Or psychological exploration of yourself, or the occult studies, astrology. This can be a fantastic time to start some occult studies like psychology, astrology, energy healing. Wow. And you can have very long lasting positive effect for you. Or to revisit such old studies, because there is also retrograde planets. The eighth house is a sex house, but of intimacy. There can be important conversations that you're leading with partners, because Venus retrograde is there. It rules your relationships, that are about reconnecting on a deeper level, or how to do it, how to rebalance the relationship. If there is lack of balance of power, if the power in the relationship is skewed, one gives more, one receives more, one is not fully invested, there will be some deep conversations, Mercury and Venus, that you're doing over the next 2-3, a week or 10 days, that are connected to trying to address that issue. It can get a bit hot, it can get a bit, but with good tone of voice, this can be resolved, because Venus and Mercury love to be together. They're friends. So you shouldn't go into attacking mode for the next at least 10 days. I think you won't go into attacking mode, but also not in manipulative mode, because Neptune is making here, squares. And indeed, you might go a bit too extreme. You might go a bit too doubtful, in such matters. But otherwise, to people who are in the occult, in astrology, in anything to do with other people's resources, in banking, in taxes. Oh, you might be involved a lot with taxes. That's another thing. You might be like revisiting, rebudgeting, examining expenses and things like that, starting some new tax strategy or getting a new tax person, plus revising all such things, eighth houses, taxes. Or it's mutual resources. You might be just super involved with to try to create resources from others. There can be a new opportunity to start creating new resources from others that is long lasting. New moon, new beginnings, trine Saturn. And the Saturn is in your fourth house. So yeah, new opportunities to start financial or to kind of collaborate with the resources of another person or investments of another person or your partner, your marriage partner resources or business partner resources is also the eighth house. There might be new opportunities there, new developments that you're able to start together. It's also old resources because you have retrograde planet that you might be, for example, in need to rebudget your mutual resources with your partner. So maybe your partner says, okay, we have to refinance something here, or with your business partner, you say, okay, we need to change the financial structure of the business, who receives how much, who gives how much, something you're going over. Such, you might be involved a lot with such matters and trying to start new such and fix old such topics. Okay, then Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, 444. Oh, that's good, very good sign, Sagittarius. I see 444 here. Interesting. What that's 444. All right, so Sagittarius, this whole thing is happening in your seventh house. New moon in seventh house. There will be new relationships for some of you that appear, especially if the new moon triggers your sun, moon, or ascendant. I told you how to see this at the beginning of the video. If it's happening, if you're exactly affected by the new moon, but new opportunities in relationships over the next 3 weeks for you. So Sagittarius suddenly can meet someone new that can become a very stable business partner for them, because the new moon is trine Saturn, very stable planet, very reliable, that can bring more business, that can bring more structure to the business as well. You can bring new clients, you can create new clientele. The seventh house is your clientele as well. Reach out to new people, and it might, or start some new strategy to find and reach out and connect with new people and collaborate. You can reach out for new collaborations, or new collaborators can reach out to you. And because Saturn is there, it will be long lasting such. It might take longer to prepare such a plan now. Maybe you decide, I want to reach more clients, seventh house to be more popular, seventh house to be more in the public eye. So I'm going to start this new strategy. But Saturn is trying the new moon. It's going to be a slower process. It's going to require you to gain more skills, communication skills, to develop something more, but it will be long-lasting such partnerships or clients. But at the same time, you have retrograde. It also can be personal relationship. A new personal relationship can start with you, or there can be a new opportunity that comes into the life of your marriage partner, like they start a new job or they start a new project that is long-lasting and respectable, and more secure. Or also, if you start a new relationship now, it can be with someone that it creates it can be very long lasting if the new moon activates your horoscope, like I told you how to check if it's making some aspects to your planets in your personal transit calendar, which is for free. Also, you have Venus and Mercury there, but Venus is retrograde, so old people from the past will be coming to people you haven't, like old love calls you back or you hear back from your ex-husband or wife, or you reconnect with old clients or business partners, or someone that you've had a partnership before and you didn't for a bit, and you say, oh, let's do a collaboration again, and you hear from them now. Or you come with an idea and you say, oh, let's connect with you. Or maybe you heard maybe you had an idea with a business partner, or with just someone that you exchanged months ago and nothing happened, and now it's like, oh, I can do it now, let me reconnect. Or you just something will happen that from the past as an opportunity was connected to other people, that you reconnect with them, that you hear from them in some way, and that you can do something together, especially connected to career, since Mercury rules your career house there, and connected to and to personal life as well. Why is that? Because Venus is the planet of love, definitely in your seventh house of relationships. It's retrograde, and Mercury there, of course, you can someone from the past, but also be careful of what people that you get in touch with, that who you already know, what they, not the new ones, not the totally new ones, mostly the ones that you already know, that you have exchanges with, that you're talking with, that there is not something fishy there because of the square to Neptune, that you don't overpromise, or they don't overpromise, or they say one thing but it turns out it's something else. There is a possibility of some miscommunication, or in extreme cases downright lie. you know. Okay, so Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising in Capricorn. This is all happening in your 6th house. New moon in your 6th house. Possibilities for new jobs for some of you. Wow. And it's very good. If you have an opportunity over the next 3 weeks to start a new job, the new moon is trining Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto. It will be very long lasting, stable one. It can be one that brings opportunities for you, that feels, great. Or if or you might decide to hire new people. 6 houses, people you hire, people that work for you. You can find some very stable, loyal people now, that are maybe more conservatives in ways, but that are because of the trine to Saturn. But you are Saturn, so you'd go along well with such people, with new employees or with new projects, that you start at your work. Or new work environment. Also 6th house, new moon is, you can feel inspired to start reading or practicing a new workout exercise, something to take care of your health, to try out a new physician, new doctor. This can be perfect time, and there'll be a solid person with solid knowledge. Trine Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto, that can give you insights about some health issues. But you also have Venus and Mercury, and Venus is retrograde. So you might be working on some old projects at your work as well that need to be fixed, that you, especially next week, you have, the week we're talking about, Mercury is conjunct, Venus is conjunct Mercury. So some work project might come back to you to be redesigned, or you have to put extra efforts to it to make it more balanced, to make it more, how do I say, more financially profitable, or more appealing, more harmonious. Or you also, with colleagues around in your office environment, if there is such, they can be some important conversations are happening, or working in a small group environment. Mercury, Venus in Gemini in the 6th house. You might be working on some project that there might be some, that you have to fix something, but that some important conversations have to happen. But there is also, be careful that there is not some miscommunications, because there is square, to Neptune, that there's not some gossip happening in the work environment, or some miscommunications about already started projects at your work. But it is possible that the old job or old work opportunity can also come, because you have Venus retrograde there in the 6th house. But there is something about this work opportunity or work project that you already know about, you've heard from before, and now it comes back to you. That is not fully, you're not fully clear about it. And that there might be something that you don't fully understand about it. And it can feel a bit too good to be true, Well, the new projects connected to health or work, or those topics we talk about, they seem more solid, with good aspects on it, this new moon. Well, the old ones you're fixing, just be careful, you check the details better, revise them better, bring them up to a better level. All right, so, and also the 6th house is that often people start. They might want to take a loan, for example, or start working on fixing some debt, for example, and such matters. But yeah, let's see. It can feel a bit off when there's so many planets activating one sixth house. It can feel a bit off because of it's a house of, you can have conflicts more with people, it's your enemies, or they're just too many errands. Just like you can be just so busy with errands around the home or about your work. But it's a house that Capricorn loves. It's a practical house. You're busy with arranging, planning practical things in your life that can have long lasting positive results, and that you're fixing your daily things, fixing your daily activities and routines as well, making them more organized. Okay, you can become a bit OCD basically over the next 2 weeks, more Virgo-like energy in your life, uh, more meticulous to the, and being a bit more anal, but you're kind of enjoying it at the same time because it's only nice planets that are there. So you're like, I'll be to the best perfect point, but that's what's needed right now. Okay, then Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. All this party of the planets in Gemini is happening in our fifth house. So we're having it the best. New beginnings of this new moon for some new creative projects from you guys. Creative project that if you have your own business is also a creative project, even if it's not art or crafts. Whatever it's your own business, some new ideas. You're starting to work on such projects over the next 2-3 weeks, which might take a bit longer to fulfill than you expected because the trine of Saturn to delay a little bit, but they will be perfectly executed. They will be very solid, very professional. Also, so if new opportunities or new creative ideas come to you, or new ideas of any sort come to you, they will. With this new moon in the fifth house, your creativity, your self-expression comes. You might want to express in a different way. You might come up with an idea to, to present yourself in a different way, but you somehow will be in a center stage because this fifth house is so activated for us for the next 2-3 weeks. So center stage of some sort, where you shine, where you are if you're a performer, for example, it can be great. You can be starting new performances, new creative projects, or if you're politician as well. Politician's a central figure, so any kind of public celebrity figure, or if you're a normal person, it just means you're starting some creative projects, some creative ideas, some new hobby to enjoy. You can discover that might require some efforts of you, because Saturn, you're Saturn, but it might require some effort, but you can implant some new creative idea or project for a long time, and it might be connected, this creative idea, with writing, with speaking, with website, with internet, because Gemini rules all of those things, with communication, with information. I'm starting to prepare a new website, working on a new project, and at the same time I'm working on to fix the old website and to improve some of its content and to bring it back to audience, because we're going to have in the fifth house, because I'm also Aquarius rising, a retrograde planet. So there are new things you're doing creatively there, but also there are old things that you're brushing up on, that you're revisiting, revising, trying to use something like, it's not fully satisfying. I want to make it better, So you're trying to, and Venus wants to rebalance it to make it more visually attractive. So you might be doing some old hobbies and old creative projects that you're working on, that you're passionate about, and also new ones. But the fifth house is also love affairs, having fun. So there can be some new ways for you to start having fun that appear, or a new romantic interest that comes to you. That's maybe either more responsible, or maybe new ways to have fun romantically with your partner, which are more, let's say, more responsible, which are more sustainable. Rather than go get drunk in the park, well, let's go for a run. Let's have some new way of having fun, or because that's the new moon. But with Saturn, it's more in a more responsible way, having fun in a more grown-up way, having fun in a way that's constructive rather than wasteful as well. Uh, but also there is retrograde planets in your fifth house. Oh yeah, so and if you meet someone else, it might be you can meet a new romantic interest, so it can just rekindle your love life. All those planets in the fifth house for sure, and you desire to have fun and just enough of work. It's like Saturn's been in my sign, all those planets have been my 12th house for years, and now it's like it's time to come out and shine a bit, because so many planets for Aquarius were in our 12th house for 2 years, and especially the last few months we felt a bit obscure or a bit like in a cocoon, and maybe we were too limited or too isolated, and maybe we just didn't want to connect with people. But now this fifth house, which is so much fun, which is like Leo, will make us become more like Leo, because the fifth house corresponds to the Leo energy, but it's in Gemini for us. So you can allow your intelligence to shine. The fifth house is intelligence. You're going to display there how brilliant I am, how amazing I am, and but not for people to clap on you. You do it because you're enjoying it, because you're finding that fire in you and that fun to play and to show yourself this confidence. The fifth house is confidence. It gets triggered and get put on a central stage or on a more in the in the more under the spotlight somehow, the fifth house of celebrity. Or you're saying, enough, I've been hiding in this hole for long enough, I'm gonna come out from under this rock and I'm gonna gloriously display my talents. Fifth house is also talents. Now I've been nurturing and developing my talents and whatever long enough. Now I'm going to put it to the public. I want to show it out there. And this is what you're starting to do with so many planets in the fifth house, triggering it. And creative ideas start flowing, but also old creative ideas. We say, remember Venus retrograde. And also revisiting old places of fun. But also it can indicate some important conversations you have to do with already existing partners, because it's retrograde. And to address, for example, why is our love life, for example, feel a bit stale? Mercury wants to talk, Venus wants to fix the love life, to make it more harmonious, to make it more erotic, or to renew it, or to make a plan. Okay, let's replan. Let's make a plan for the summer. Maybe you had different plans before, and now Venus retrograde says, okay, we have to make a different fun planet for the summer, So now let's see, what are we gonna do? What holidays are we gonna go on? And what let's plan a little bit, because I finally want to have fun. I don't just want to be, this fifth house is fun, and let's have erotic connection more, or do more fun hobbies and stuff. Okay. And if it's but be careful as well, because Venus, Neptune, even old flame connects with you, or you reconnect with an old flame. And there's this possibility with Neptune there from our second house, that we can have more, it can lead to some clashes of values, because second house is values. Or it can just mean that you spend more money on your children. Fifth house is children as well. A lot of activities with children, if you have children, will be happening. New activities, new possibilities with children, but also revising your relationship with children, them going back to something. But it can also indicate the square that you can spend more on children, more on entertainment, because it's from your second house of money. Some more extravagant spending on having fun, on entertainment, on pleasures, on gambling. If you're someone who goes on the stock market, be a little bit careful, especially with older stocks that you're working with, stocks that you're already familiar with, or investments of any source that you're already familiar with, because it can lose you some money. But if you have new ones, they can make you money in longer term. The new moon is trine great planets, especially Saturn, longer term. So it's better for you, for an investor of any sort, because fifth house is about investing, especially kind of more stock market type of things, that a bit like gamble, to do it in new stocks, while all the ones, there's the possibility of losses there. But definitely becoming more risk taker, more creative, more fun, more original with your image, willing to put yourself out there, but also revising your romantic relationships or starting new ones. There's both. I mean, like there is new energy and there is old energies. Maybe both will manifest. Okay. And last but not least, Pisces. How all this shaboodle is happening in your fourth house. So all those planets, it's kind of more private, so to speak, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the fourth house, it means that you can feel a bit more introverted for the next 2, 3 weeks, but spend more time at home. Maybe you're gonna social distance a bit longer, you know. Maybe you choose to um spend more time privately or just with the ones you love, but it's fantastic time. Starting already now, it's active. You're gonna feel more activities with family, definitely. There's so much happening there. I mean, you can reconnect with family members you haven't seen in a while. Venus retrograde in your fourth house of family, and it will be full of love and it will be full of good conversations. Mercury there. You're gonna hear from family members, loved ones, extended family, those that are closest to your heart. There's a lot of action there, you know, that is happening, and good things, good news, and good important developments there. Maybe you're gonna get to see them or no. My mother-in-law is Pisces, and she's been working so much. She's a nurse and she's been working 7 days a week, 12 hours for the last 2 months, and I can't wait to see her. And that's next week we're gonna see her, in a few days basically, and I can't wait. So she'll reconnect with her family as a Pisces. She's a Pisces sun herself. Um, it's also connected on your property. There might be an opportunity to move somewhere else or to live somewhere else because of the new moon happening in your fourth house. And or if you're trying to buy or sell property, there might be an opportunity that comes to you over the next 2, 3 weeks, that is solid, that is stable because of the Saturn trine there and Jupiter and Pluto trine. Also, it can be a good time to start some new project around the house, whether to renovate, and it might take a bit longer than you expect because of the trine to Saturn, but it's still very, you know, it's still going to be very stable, solid. The final result will be very satisfying and pleasing. Also, renew or change something around the house about your living environment. Venus, maybe throw out some old furniture, put more beautiful ones, or some, you know, whatever your style is. Uh, Sorry, my mind slips up because it's Pisces and it's the last sign, so I'm always, by the end I'm in either in the zone or or zoned out. But you're gonna have Pisces. Look, your Mars has entered your sign, so you're gonna be quite active. You know, it's not just home and homebody and activities connected to home and family and reconnecting. No, because Mars is such a powerful sign in your first house, so you're gonna feel much more activated to initiate things, and especially concerning material matters of finances and resources, because Mars rules your second house of money, so it's activating you. And Mars also rules your ninth house, doesn't it? Yes, second and ninth house. They can be, it's interesting that over the next 2, 3 weeks, actually, while Saturn is in Pisces, actually the whole month, it can bring to you possibilities to some of you to travel, to go on a journey, and maybe, you know, to have like not next town, maybe a bit longer journey, or to deal with some legal matters, to initiate them, to grab them by the horn, you know, to get them done, as though the ninth house is this, or to take some studies, higher knowledge studies, you know, this is the ninth house, to start a course, to really initiate, or to teach yourself. There can be some powerful opportunities for you to teach, maybe from home, because all those planets in your fourth house definitely are teaching something, or to preach to others. You might feel overly, you know, if you're a Pisces now, the planet of your belief system, of your belief systems is in your first house, and it's very combative planet, and it's Mars, and you might be in your high horse as a teacher preaching and do this and don't this is how it should be and da, da, da. Maybe that's why your family might find you a bit unbearable as well, because Mars will be squaring all those planets in your fourth house connected to home and family, because you might be like too, this is what you should do, this is not telling them, not bossing them around, but preaching on them. Bring out of good, ninth house rule is out of good intentions. You want to give them advice and whatever, but you might rub heads with them. This is one thing you have to be a bit careful about as well. And as I said, you can become quite initiative in regards to material opportunities as well. While Mars is transiting your first house, you can also become more physically active around the house with all those planets in the fourth house. But yes, if you have anything to do, papers for family, for legalizing residence of any sorts, this will be a very important week where things are, especially towards the end of the week and the week after, so the next 2-3 weeks actually. This can be when you take legal documents for residence, for example, when you can sell or buy property, when you can relocate your family, when you can reconnect and see family you haven't seen in a long time, or when you can do some important projects at your home. But you're very active and you're quite restless, and you're initiating all those things with Mars in your first house. And you're also more prone to fight with people as well, to be more stroppy, your hormones to be up and down, to be a bit more impulsive. So remember that, especially impulsive with money as well. But it's great to initiate activities that can generate you more assets, or that can just make you more money. You can be full of energy to make more money and such. Okay, thank you so much. Phew, all done. Thank you so much for joining me, and do check our Ancient Babylonian Astrology Academy, the only one in the world. And I love you so much. Check your weekly transits. Yeah, you have the best tool in the world. Again, no one else offers those for free and with so much information and your own personal transits. Thank you.
I wash my soul in the ocean, in the tears of God. Let it go. Clean myself completely so I can get higher above. I will love you more than I could ever love. Let's be found in